The Blakerow carbon is truly a jack of all trades when it comes to infantry combat. If you fancy yourself a crack shot, you will appreciate its very good accuracy despite its rapid semi-automatic fire mode. And as icing on the cake, it retains the ability to attach the trusty bayonet, just like most other rifles. You can aim carefully to make your shots count, or you can also start spraying bullets right off the bat to quickly react to new threats, and still reasonably expect many of your shots to hit home. Being the lightest primary weapon in the Warden arsenal makes it ideal for guerrilla tactics, flanking and harassing the enemy lines, especially during daytime. Provided you're traveling light, your increased speed combined with the bayonet allows you to become a swift and silent killer. That is, if you manage to bring the fight close enough for Blade. For example, if I fired at this passing collie, he would take evasive action and get away. But no one expects a random guy with a bayonet to come up from behind and stab you even before you reach the front lines. Not even a lieutenant general. By no means does this mean that the Blakerow is fit only for a skirmishing role. Even on an active front where both sides are locked in a bitter stalemate, using your superior instincts, you can charge the enemy defenses and cause a breakthrough. Defying expectations and evading bullets, I rush inside this hostile trench and make it mine. Watch how I quickly react to the appearance of the enemy's submachine gunner and cut left, then skewer the dutiful corporal, aiming in the direction of the front line. Now, unfortunately, this bunker piece has no doors, so I need to make another jump. The right side of this next trench has barbed wire, so I'm definitely not going that way. And they did not expect me to just hop inside from this direction and murder both of them in the blink of an eye, at a range where cold steel is more reliable than bullets. And knowing that there's another enemy off to the right, I immediately crouch and line up my shot in his direction, before standing up so I can finish him off with deadly accuracy at record speed. And just like that, I've paved way for friendly infantry to take ground and provide cover for PvE assets to be brought to the front. On a normal front line, mindless fighting is thickest in the center, usually along the road, while the edges are sparse enough that more sophisticated maneuvers have greater impact. Seize control of cover in these areas that's occupied by enemies by using blind spots like corners of houses to close the distance without getting shot at. Then look for a good opportunity to rush inside and flush out the defenders at the tip of your bayonet.
Why are you running?
The key to excelling with your Blakerow is repeating the cycle of grabbing cover, defending it, and using it as a launch pad to grab the next cover to take and defend. This is because a rifle-type weapon such as the Blakerow has much to gain from the accuracy buff that trenches and other types of cover offer, and much to lose when you're caught out in the open, because unlike the SMG, you have to sacrifice either accuracy or the ability to sidestep incoming bullets while firing. When you're inside a trench, you can quickly respond to new threats by crouching, aiming, then standing and firing. This not only helps you reach max accuracy much faster, but you can also keep crouching in between shots so you can avoid exposing yourself to incoming bullets when your gun is not firing. Enemies will go down in just 2 shots if they're close to medium range, and 3 for longer distances. With just the Blakerow and bayonet, you are blessed with the ability to take over strategically valuable cover and unleash a hail of super accurate rifle fire into the exposed enemy lines. If they try to reclaim that position with brute force, they're in for a nasty surprise, because there's nothing more terrifying than a madman with a pointy thing inside a tightly packed area.
Let's dance, lads! No worries, the sniper's here.
Woo, they're digging in like mole rats.
Now, we'll go over some tips on how to break into the hidey holes already occupied by the enemy. Using the cover of night, flank the enemy position while they're preoccupied on the front line. When jumping to the next piece of cover, be subtle about exiting your hiding spot by climbing out in a different direction, feigning retreat, and then boldly shifting your course to your intended target. With a combination of luck and skill, you will come out on top against even the most experienced opponents.
I believe that makes me your daddy.
Why use an entire box of 12.7 when a pocket knife would do? While you wait for friendly or enemy suppression to die down, think about what obstacles you can use to your advantage as you press forward. Even a single dead tree can make a huge difference. Not only will it block bullets, but it will also make your movements very difficult to predict. Here, heavy fighting is ongoing surrounding this house, but why isn't anyone storming the one right ahead of us? Sometimes, you just have to lead by example and show how it's done. I sprint to the corner of the house and catch my breath. Then I rush to the second floor and bayonet whoever's there, then run back outside when I see another collie. But it's a ploy to let down his guard, because I immediately return for more blood. Dodging bullets is a useful skill that requires a little bit of intuition. Notice how I pretend to go right, and then cut left right when the enemy is about to fire, and then zigzag to close the distance. Not suggesting you should do this often, but if you must charge against fully automatic enemy fire, you want to draw out their bullets in an arc and then suddenly shift into the opposite direction just when the gunner's aim would catch up to you, causing them to overshoot your position. Sometimes frontal assault is the only option, despite the heavy fighting, especially on narrow front lines. In such cases, make use of smoke grenades to conceal your approach when you go over the top. Again, watch how I fool this bush collie into thinking I'll go in a straight line, but changing direction just when I feel like he's about to fire. And because I know most of the enemies are watching the front, I start massacring the ones in the back first, and then get the ones closer to the front. Or, at least I try to. Now it's important not to get too greedy because unpredictability is what's keeping me alive. Moving around out of sight in this T-shaped trench, I can be in 3 places at once, or nowhere at all. Let me give you a few pointers on effectively using the bayonet. The obvious limitation is range. The key is to overcome this one disadvantage and amplifying all the other features, such as the one-hit kill and infinite usage without reloading. After throwing a gas grenade at the enemy bunker base, I roam around in the vicinity looking for easy pickings.
Run.
And then I poke around for any more weaknesses before making my way back to the main target. Because this lone collie has spotted me off to the left, I immediately jump into the trench and move away from him. This way my victims will be completely taken by surprise before anyone rings the bell. A brave fellow tries to duel me with his own bayonet, but like in a dogfight, a less experienced hunter can quickly become the hunted. When you find yourself in a jousting situation, it all boils down to instinct. You don't want to stab too late or too soon, but just right. When charging trenches head on, you really want to get in the habit of the optimal zigzag pattern. Unless the guy's looking to suicide with a gas grenade, how was I supposed to know? Keep the enemy guessing where you will appear next. This is why I first get on top of this bunker before choosing one of the entrances inside. And this throws the enemy into great fear and confusion. Easy pickings for my blade. Now, let's see everything we learned come together in action. All you need is a Blakerow, 3 clips, bandage, and bayonet. We start by storming this house, a low-hanging objective that our infantry can use to hold ground. Seeing that there's an enemy machine gunner peeking from this direction, I opt to flank him from the other side. I managed to stab one of his escorts, but unfortunately missed the machine gunner himself. Instead of being greedy, I retreat and take cover from the heavy enemy fire so I can stay in the fight. Using a window on the second floor, I can see what lies before me from a safe position. The enemy is heavily entrenched and a brute force attack will come at a heavy cost. So, I take a special ops mission and look for a way around to flank them from the side, no matter how long it takes. I scope out a perfect little bush that will conceal my approach to infiltrate their lines. All the enemies are looking the other direction, so I can boldly make a dash for the bush. There is one collie standing by the tractor which I need to reach, so I take him out hitman style.
Expertly done, 47.
Then I keep the tractor in between myself and the enemies in the trench so that they won't see me close the distance. But there is another collie who sees exactly what I'm up to, so I enter the trench in the other direction. I leave the enemies who are unaware of my presence in peace because you want to take on as few hostilities as possible at the same time. But when the situation calls for a hero, you must be prepared to become one.
Fuck this shit, I'm out.
I reach the end of the trench network unopposed and see that the enemies are forming a new defensive line at the stone wall. It's time to double back and finish what I started. Tunnel vision is real with this one. He was clueless about the havoc going on behind him, and I easily take him out from the rear. This should help our friendly infantry move up and reinforce us. Now, I expected there to be enemies coming for me and set up an ambush, but my bomber boy wingman is doing too good of a job and they got scared off. After making sure the coast is clear, I press the advantage and reach deeper inside their lines to threaten their flank. My target flees the scene and this creates a gap in their front lines. The collies try to swarm my position from all sides, and so I make a tactical retreat and bait them into entering the killing field where I set up an ambush. Being patient, I wait until the collies creep forward close enough for me to pop out in melee range and secure a kill. I do make the mistake of bandaging myself right away, which leaves me unable to avoid the enemy frag grenade. But by this time, reinforcements have arrived, and our troops are able to take and hold ground in a battlefield where every inch is taken with great sacrifice.
Cheers, love! The cavalry's here!
And this is what it takes to rise above more than just a rifleman, but become a hero of the battlefield, whose very presence brings relief to your comrades, infantry and armor alike. You protect the vulnerable and the strong. You blaze a path for others to follow, and do what 100 men cannot. You are the eyes, the hands, and the feet of the army. Smart, bold, and courageous. Fearlessly diving into the pits of hell itself without a second thought, and emerging victorious to tell the tale. For you are the Blakerow hero, avenger of the innocents, protected by the gods themselves. Justice is its own reward, and the tales of your noble accomplishments will be heralded for generations to come.
Giga Chad, did you see that bayonet guy? You Giga Chad, I saw you, that was done dirty.
Thank you.